It's time for your SportsEdge.com sideline report with Todd Griffin. Talking sports and more here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY and worldwide at WPKYonline.com. Here's your host, Todd Griffin.
Good morning, everyone. The Sideline Report is on the air from 1035 West Main Street in Princeton, the WPKY studios. This is Todd Griffin in with you this morning from YourSportsEdge.com and WPKY Radio. And as always, we've got a busy show. Bob Hayes from WPKY will be joining us just a little bit later on. And also right now joining us on the phone all the way from the Eastern Time Zone this morning, we've got Luther Bramblett joining us. He's the Midway University baseball coach. Good morning, Luther. How's it going?
Good morning, man. How are you, Todd?
Everything's going great here in the Central Time Zone, and I got to admit I'm always a little jealous of you guys in the Eastern Time Zone because you get to go out and play golf a little later during the summer than we get to.
We definitely get to do that. It doesn't get dark till around 9:30.
Oh, man, see, that'd be sweet.
Yes, it would. It would.
Well, great to have you on the show this morning, and I'm tickled to death that a couple of Caldwell County Tigers are headed your way.
Well, definitely looking forward to having both those kids on campus. It's been a while since I had a kid from Princeton, so excited to finally get back in there and nab a couple of them.
John Davis and Easton Thompson are headed your way, and I was trying to think the other day, when's the last time you had a Caldwell County kid coming your way?
Oh, boy. I was trying to think that the other day as well. Let's see. We had Wes Bug early in my career. I think he was one of the first ones at St. Catherine. And then we had Joe Van Hoosier. Had one more. And the name is slipping my mind right now. But I've had a couple.
That's good.
And they were all good kids.
Yeah,
so.
we've got a couple of more at some point that, maybe could head your way too, so that'd be even greater.
Yes, it would.
How did
always looking to get some kids from Western Kentucky and especially kids from Caldwell County because overall I try to recruit kids from programs that enjoy winning, like competing, and for the most part, the athletic programs there at Caldwell County have been very competitive and have won more than they lost. So I try to get kids from programs like that. I think it's important.
At what point did Davis and Thompson kind of come on your radar?
Well, Davis came across at first because of basketball. Our basketball coach talked to me one day about him and wanted to see if I knew anything about him. I said, honestly, other than watching him play online basketball games, I haven't seen him play baseball or anything like that. And then Mr. Hayes reached out to me and said that he may have some interest in baseball, and he was going to be coming to University of Kentucky anyway, and it was close, and he has local ties here, some family here in Woodford County. So talked to Mr. Hayes about him, and then and of course Easton was already somewhat on my radar because I worked with his dad, coached his dad early in his career, hunted a little bit with him, so I've known Easton's dad for 20 plus years. So I knew about Easton. I went and watched them play in the second region tournament, and John had a great game. Easton was solid behind the dish, and obviously I'm always looking for guys that are competitive dudes, and I think both those guys are hard-working, competitive kids. So, I was obviously interested because they're coming.
Yeah, it was great to see you up at the second region tournament at Union County, and I wondered when I saw you there exactly who you were taking a look at.
Taking a look at a little bit of everybody, but those two kids I was definitely focused in on. And then I had a chance to see, obviously, everybody else play. And then, what's the kid that I think little shortstop? I call him Sunshine because of his nice blonde hair.
Cody
Holub? From his hat. Yeah, I saw him at the East-West games work out and invited him to come see me this fall and maybe work out and practice with us. And, of course, Tate was there as well. And I think he's going to be a very good baseball player and always enjoy watching him play and compete. So.
Well, I was going to ask you about the All-Star games, and how did you kind of get involved with that?
Well, long story short, I've been going to those forever. And then they started doing the showcase type stuff to help college coaches, and it wasn't run very well. We didn't know who, what, when, and where, and didn't know who was out there and what kid was doing what, and it was just kind of unorganized. So I reached out to some of the people that were running it in charge and said, dude, we've got to make a change here. So it's better for us college coaches knowing who's who and where they're from and what positions they play, and have some organization within the showcase so we know who we're looking at and what we're watching. So, it's a pro style workout. So we always run the 60 first, and then we'll do outfield throws, and then we'll do infield throws, catcher's throws, and then we'll take a round of BP. So they used to run the 60s out there in the outfield, and of course the NCAA has all these rules about you can't be on the field. So we've switched all that around and made sure that the 60s are run down the foul line, so college coaches and people that can't get on the field can be there at the end and can see the start, so they can get their 60 times and all that type of stuff. So I basically got involved, and they asked me to run the showcase 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. So that's what I've done. Just try to make it easy and simple and organized, so college coaches and scouts, pro guys know who's who and where they're from. So when they're watching and taking notes, they know exactly who they're looking at.
Well, that's great for those players because, like you said, you've got the junior all-stars and the sophomore all-stars, and it's great publicity for those guys to get out and be seen by all those coaches. No question,
and it's kind of sad because in your more urban areas, the Lexington area, the Louisville markets, it just doesn't seem as important to those kids. Those kids usually are no-shows, or they're kind of turds when they get there. But across the state, though, it's important to those kids. It's important to be an East-West All-Star. It means a lot. And those kids, we had to cancel it twice this year because of the weather. So we had a good turnout from across the state, but in the Louisville and Lexington areas, a lot of those kids didn't show up. But overall, yes, it is good to see those kids. It's good for those kids to be seen. I think we had at the junior showcase, I think we had 15 college coaches there, and I think at the sophomore, there were, I think, 9 that were there watching those guys. So. And a couple pro guys.
Well, and the guys, especially from the western end of the state, you don't get as much publicity down this way anyway. I think the Lexington and Northern Kentucky guys and Louisville guys, they get seen. But I think when you offer somebody down in this end of the state a chance to get out and work out in front of people, they are more receptive to that kind of thing.
No question. And it goes the same for the Eastern Kentucky kids.
Caldwell County with a couple of kids up there, and Luther, apparently Tate Van Hoosier and Cody Holub were pretty impressive in the All-Star games.
They were. Tate had a very good day during the game, and so did, was it Cody?
Yes.
I can't remember his name. Cody had a really good game too. Stole a couple bases, had a knock, and he's just an athletic kid. So. Everything he does is kind of high energy, high speed, high motor, and hair flying everywhere. So it's easy to see him doing what he's doing.
Well, I need Tate to hurry up and get on the St. Louis Cardinals because we need a power hitter. We're struggling right now.
I thought Goldie was supposed to be the answer.
Well, he's slowly starting to come around. It's a guy that's a former MVP type guy, but he hasn't really had that kind of season yet.
Well, it's the pressure of playing in front of greatest fan base in baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. But, they're only a couple of games. I think they're 3 games back in the Central Division and a half game back in the wild card. Haven't really put anything together yet, so I'm still hoping. Yeah, you never know what's going to happen. Mentioned earlier you'd signed John Davis and Easton Thompson. When do you guys get going in the fall, and what can those kids expect once they get there?
Those guys will move into campus and get here, I think, August 16th, and they'll go through some orientation-type stuff. That first week of classes and everything, we'll have some meetings and stuff. we're still kind of in flux as far as exactly what we're going to be doing and when we're going to be doing it and where we're going to be doing it, because our field is supposed to be done. I think they've told me this week that the plan is to have our field on campus, the baseball field portion of it anyway, complete by October 1st. So obviously I need to be practicing tail end of August and September and getting these guys going. So we may be back at Woodford County. I'm not 100% sure where yet, but we may be back at Woodford County for at least a month and a half. But anyway, we will get right into it with our freshmen and sophomores, getting those guys ready, getting those guys prepared, and then we'll have a fall schedule for our freshmen and sophomores, and we'll look to play about 20 to 25, maybe 30 games with those guys, to get those guys as many at-bats as we can, get the pitchers as many innings as we can, and get them as much experience as we can, and let them compete for playing time. So, both those guys are going to be in for a little bit of culture shock because, they were the guys last year, played every day. Now they're going to be competing for time and competing for at-bats and competing for that varsity jersey. So I'm looking forward to it because both those kids are very competitive kids, and but they got some work ahead of them. So I think they'll be fine, though.
If my math is correct, with those two joining your program, that gives Caldwell County 10 former players on college rosters next season. And as a former Tiger yourself, that's pretty impressive.
Well, that's awesome.
I mean, that's a whole team.
Yeah, it is, and it speaks to not only what Bradley's done there, but what all the other sports have done there. I mean, I think we've talked about it before. I think the competitive nature of the football program there bleeds into other sports, and the basketball team had a great run last year, and obviously the baseball team's had a good run of talent and kids, and those kids, in my opinion, want to keep that winning tradition going and competing, and you can definitely tell. So anytime you win, college coaches are going to be interested because usually they want to recruit kids that come from winning programs and that are used to competing and used to working and used to playing for championships. And so that's just a testament to Caldwell County as a whole and what Bradley's done baseball-wise with 10 kids in college at this time. That's awesome.
I'm not sure everyone realizes just how many opportunities there are out there now for baseball players to have a chance to go play college someplace.
There are. I mean, there are a ton of junior colleges. There's a ton of D3 schools, NAI schools. A lot of kids get tied up on, I've got to play the D1. I've got to play D1. My last year at St. Catherine, last 2 years at St. Catherine, we had 5 guys that played professional baseball off that team, off those 2 teams. First year here at Midway, we had 2 teams, two kids taken, signed to play professionally. So that's 7 guys, in the last, for me, 5 years that I played professional baseball. There's some Division I teams, Division II schools in the state of Kentucky that can't say that.
Right.
So there's good baseball everywhere, and you just have to find the best fit for you. Of course, that fit could be, finances, your major, how big of a school do you want to go to, how far away from home do you want to go to. So, but there's definitely a lot of options out there for kids. They just got to do their homework.
Yeah, and there's definitely some good kids here in the second region, not just Caldwell County. There's a lot of good programs. Lyon County has a lot of nice kids coming up, so I think there's a lot of kids around here that'll be playing college baseball at some point. No question. And I'll try to get down there, and if I can and when I can, and see those kids play. So you mentioned earlier your baseball field. How is that project coming along? And, man, that's got to be we talked about it before when you were on a few months back. That's got to be a dream to get to design your own baseball field and plan everything out. It's been fun, but it's also been very frustrating because money is the trump card of everything. So long story short, with our project, we've raised almost $1 million for our project, but the cost of construction, the cost of things that I knew nothing about, I can tell you how much this costs to build a baseball field and do all that type of stuff, but
when you get into moving over 20,000 cubic yards of dirt, and then you get into all the drainage that goes within that eats up a big chunk of the money. So long story short, we went from hoping to have a turf infield and natural grass outfield to now everything's going to be a natural grass surface. And we don't have enough money now to build our press box, bathroom, concession facility, and our covered hitting facility. So right now we're just focusing on getting the baseball field, dugouts, fencing, bullpens, scoreboard, foul poles, everything you need to play games. And we're focusing on that right now. So, again, we're supposed to be sodding the entire thing. It's going to be HDT bluegrass, which is what Cincinnati has, what Georgia Tech has. A lot of professional stadiums have this type of grass, which is very similar to the Bermuda grass. It's a creeping bluegrass, and you can mow it short, just like you could a golf fairway or a baseball field, football field, whatever. So that's the surface that we're putting in. But it is definitely exciting because now I'm ordering tarps and ordering stuff for BP and stuff to take care of the field and hoses and rakes and tamps and all that good stuff. So it's been fun, but I think you know me well enough. Wish it was here yesterday.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, I can kind of speak from experience when you start talking about lights and those kind of things going up on a ball field because, at Youth Incorporated, we've been kind of looking at that for several years now, and it's just a lot of money to try to put lights on baseball fields.
It is. Lights and all that type of stuff. It gets more expensive every single year, and there's more that goes into it than people really realize. And now all the lights are going to LED for energy-saving things. And of course, those are way more expensive than the regular lights that you see now at most ballparks. But in the long run, you save more money too. So it's that initial cost that kind of kicks you in the gut and makes it a little more difficult. But eventually we'll get our press box, bathroom concession, and then we'll get our lights and eventually get there. It just takes time.
I was kind of hoping you would look back at some of the old stadiums and maybe like the Polo Grounds or something and have like a really short fence on one side or the other and, all those little gimmicks.
Well, we are kind of landlocked where they decide to put the field. We've got a railroad track going right behind left field and left center. So we'll have a train going through here once or twice a day during our games.
Well, yeah, just like Brewster's Millions. I mean, you got to work that into the field.
Yeah, need to do that. But we're going to be 320 down the left field line, so that's kind of short. We're going to be 362 in both gaps. We're going to be 390 in center, and then we're going to be 325 down the right field line. So it's got a little bit of character to it, but on our campus, when we get it built, you'll have to come check it out. But we've got roughly 200 acres here on campus, and it is basically an operating horse farm. So we've got the black fencing going all the way around, all the horse paddocks and everything out there. So we're going to do the same thing around our field. We're going to put the black horse fencing up, and it's going to tie into the rest of campus and look pretty cool. So
yeah, that does sound cool.
It'll be different. Yeah.
Looking ahead, what kind of team are you going to have next spring?
Man, you never know. Every time somebody asks me that, I tell them to ask me in January, so I'll see how many guys we have that have made the grades and done what they're supposed to do academically. And but we've got good core of kids coming back. We lost some key pieces, but I feel like we've signed some quality freshmen that are going to have an opportunity to step in and compete for playing time. We've signed some pretty good freshman arms, and we've got a few transfers that are coming, and we're talking to a few more. So I'm excited to get going. I think we've got a good core of guys coming back that are hungry, and so I'm looking forward to getting going here in 4 weeks.
Yeah, sounds like you're enjoying things there at Midway.
Oh, I am. Other than the drive, I drive about 50 minutes to work every day. Got my kids with me today, and my 6-year-old's in the back seat. Are we almost there yet? We're getting there, man. So other than the drive, I can't complain, man. It's a good location, right outside Lexington, right outside Frankfort. So it's good for kids. They've got anything that they'd ever want, but it's a small campus and it's a safe campus. It's a beautiful campus with a quality education. So as long as they give us an opportunity to be competitive, then I'm a happy guy.
That's great. Thanks for joining us this morning. We'll have to have you on again sometime, and I hope somewhere down the road there's more Caldwell County Tigers to talk about.
I hope so, man. Nothing like getting them to stay in that blue and gold.
Absolutely. Thanks, Luther. Have a great
All
day.
right, Todd, thanks for having me, man. You too.
That's Midway University baseball coach Luther Bramblett, and, of course, John Davis and Easton Thompson from Caldwell County, the latest Tigers to sign to play college baseball. So that'll be fun to have all them with a former Tiger up at Midway University. Bob Hayes is in the studio with us, standing by. We've got more to go on the Sideline Report, but we need to get to a break, so stay with us. The Sideline Report rolls on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Get spruced up with quality mulch from Bashir Sawmill on Dawson Road in Princeton. We all know that buying mulch by the truckload saves money, and it's only $25 per load for dark natural mulch at Bashir Sawmill on Dawson Road, 1/2 mile past City County Park. Bashir Sawmill also buys standing timber and timberland. Give them a call today, 270-365-2330. That's Bashir Sawmill, family owned and operated in Princeton for over 50 years.
Need cash fast? Get the money you need. Call ABC Finance now.
What if you go to get your mower out and it won't start, or the honey-do list of repairs around the house seems to keep growing?
Whatever it is, you want to resolve your problem quickly and get back to your regular life.
Hi, this is Jody Lamb at the Princeton ABC Finance location.
And this is Todd Morris at the Hopkinsville location.
And we can help you buy a new mower or take care of those honeydews.
At ABC Finance, we provide loans up to $15,000.
We are locally owned and staffed, and decisions are made quickly, usually within an hour.
No appointment is needed, and walk-ins are welcome.
You can even give us a call, and we can take your application over the phone.
Or you can apply online at abcfinanceonline.com.
And like us on Facebook.
ABC Finance in Hopkinsville on Fort Campbell Boulevard next to O'Charlie's, and in Princeton Plaza. ABC Finance.
All loans subject to normal credit approval.
It's a party on the lot at the old Paducah Coke plant. Every weekend in July, the Coke plant will close the parking lot for one day to feature amazing musicians, special release beers, mellow mushroom specials, and more. This week's concert will be Saturday, July 20th, featuring amazing music from Leonard the Band, the Savage Radley, and Sam Hadfield. The special beer release for this week is the Savage Radler Ale with mango and habanero. You don't want to miss the party on the lot at the Paducah Coke plant, 3121 Broadway.
Always the best. There's a reason why Herb Hayes Furniture and Mattress has been in business for 58 years. It's because they have the finest quality furniture and a team of people who are happy to help you. Take advantage of their 58th anniversary sale. Furnish 1, 2, 3, or more rooms with up to 6 years free financing. Herb Hayes Furniture and Mattress, where you always get the best selection, the best furniture at the best price. On the Boulevard in Hopkinsville. Always the best.
The Sideline Report continues on a Thursday morning live from the WPKY studios, and thanks for joining us. Thanks to Luther Bramblett for joining us this morning. He's the head coach at Midway University, the baseball coach there, and joining us in the studio now is Bob Hayes, WPKY sportscaster. And Bob, glad to have you with us this morning, and glad to have you listening in there when we're talking to Luther about some baseball.
Well, it's good to be here, Todd, and I always enjoy when Luther talks, listening to him, because he's a hoot.
Yeah, he certainly has a way with words.
Yeah, yes, he does.
And we were talking about the Polo Grounds there, and of course that's anybody that follows me on Facebook or Twitter always gets to see my love of the Polo Grounds. I don't know why, because I'm not really a big fan of the New York sports things, but the Polo Grounds has always been one of my favorite stadiums, especially for baseball. And, some really interesting things at the Polo Grounds. And one thing that always stuck out to me was that the bullpens were actually in the outfield. They were in play.
Absolutely. Growing up watching Saturday afternoon games, you either got the game from the Polo Grounds or you got the game from Yankee Stadium. And that Polo Grounds was a treat to look at the outfield, as well as Cleveland's Municipal Stadium. the same, you had a bomb if you got it to center field and got it out of the park at the Polo Grounds. So all those things were interesting where they put their bullpens, especially at the Polo Grounds.
And we remember the Willie Mays catch in the outfield at the Polo Grounds. That's one of the most famous plays, I think, in baseball history. And you were saying Lou Brock owned a certain piece of history there at the Polo Grounds too.
Lou Brock and Joe Adcock were the only two players to ever homer in the Polo Grounds to dead center field, which was 490 feet away with a 20-foot wall. So you talk about a blast, that was a blast.
We need to get to another break here on the Sideline Report, but Bob is going to be with us for the rest of the show and lots to talk about. And Bob's wearing a St. Louis Cardinals shirt, so we'll probably talk some Cardinals baseball. And we won't beat down the other teams too bad, Bob, will we?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right, so we'll be back on the Sideline Report right after this on 1580 103.3 WPKY.
Here's your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast.
Use caution if outside for a long period of time today. Excessive heat warning in effect today. Could see heat index values in the triple digits. High today of 92. Slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm as well. Tonight, mostly clear, low 74. More sunshine for tomorrow, a high 92, but that heat advisory still into effect. And for tomorrow night, a low 74 under clear skies. Saturday, high 93 with the heat index values reaching near triple digits. Again for today, sunshine, a high near 92. Slight chance of a shower, and the heat index values around 105.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Rogers Pet Grooming.
Since 1978, Perry's Floors & More has been selling, installing, and servicing homeowners throughout Western Kentucky with quality flooring and workmanship. Perry's Floors & More carries luxury vinyl plank and luxury vinyl tile, carpet, window treatments, and more. Brands like Mannington, Shaw, Tarkett, Beaulieu, and Flexitech. Quality brands, excellent customer service, combined with 40 years experience is why they say you can walk on our reputation. See Bill and Lucy at Perry's Floors & More, 127 West Market Street, Princeton.
Get into shape and feel good at Trilogy Performance Sports. Trilogy is a family-friendly environment that offers a wide range of classes to reach your fitness and well-being goals. Whether you're into yoga, gymnastics, sports training, team training, cardio, kickboxing, or weightlifting, Trilogy has something for the whole family. Family discounts available, and your first 2 weeks are free. Located in Princeton behind Cash Express. Be better than you used to be at Trilogy Performance Sports.
The Sideline Report continues on 1580 103.3 and WPKYonline.com. Want to tell you about Dave's Deal of the Week at U-Ride right here in Princeton. It's a 2014 Buick Regal Turbo, black in color. See Dave for details at U-Ride in Princeton. That's U-Ride on 310 Marion Road, Princeton. Telephone 270-365-3215. That's Dave's Deal of the Week at U-Ride in Princeton. We are back on the Sideline Report, and so much going on today that it's almost difficult to figure out where to begin as we continue on the show. But first of all, lots of golf to talk about. Emma Talley not playing this week, but she will be back in action next week when the LPGA Tour heads over to Europe. Talley will play in the Evian Championship in France next week. Has a qualifier for the British Open the following Monday. Still hoping to get into the 2019 Women's British Open. And she'll also play in the Ladies Scottish Open over there in Scotland also. Lyon County's Cullen Brown playing today in the PGA's Barbasol Championship in Nicholasville on the PGA Tour. The Ediville native got a sponsor's exemption for that event, so he'll be teeing it up this afternoon with the pros on the PGA Tour. That's the Barbasol Championship in Nicholasville. Also, the British Open getting underway this morning, and Bob, I was watching Golf Channel last night, and they were talking about the favorites, and I'm thinking Rory McIlroy has to be the favorite for this, right? And then I get up this morning, and he hit his first tee shot out of bounds this morning, and I think had a quadruple bogey on the first hole. So
actually, yes, had a quadruple, took an 8 on the first hole, and when he made the turn, I watched part of that this morning when I got up. He was only 3 over at the turn, so he had battled back and had another bogey or two later on in the third or fourth hole.
the British Open may be my favorite major. Now, I like all of them, and of course the Masters is the Masters and the U.S. Open is the U.S. Open, but to me the British Open, or the Open Championship as they call it over there, is probably the truest championship as far as remaining true to the original intent of the game.
It is, and it's really and it's the timing that always intrigues me. I can get up at 4:30 or 5 o'clock and turn on the TV, and I'd have to watch something that's an infomercial or a rerun or two or 14 hours of Sports Center, if you will, and that. So it is and the links course type always intrigues me. How it looks like it's there's nothing straight unless you get into some of those old Scottish courses with but the course today is rolly, hilly, everything.
Well, I like those courses because there are no trees. I seem to find the trees a lot, so I wonder if I could play one of those courses and just see what it's like not to hit a tree the whole round.
And there are definitely no trees on that golf course.
But that's always fun, and like I said, to me that's one of the things, and to me the great thing about the British Open is they don't get bent out of shape about the winning score. I think in this country, the USGA has taken the U.S. Open and has decided they're going to make the course so tough and they're going to gimmick it up to the point because they want par to be winning score. When you go over to the British Open, they don't care. They don't. I mean, they want it to be a tough test of golf. But if the weather is great and everybody's playing the same course, if somebody is 15 under, that's fine. If the weather is horrible and the winning score is 5 over, that's fine because, again, that's just golf.
Well, and today, looking at the winds were up over there. Everybody was walking around with maybe 3 layers of clothing on, so it's not your 90-degree, 85-degree weather. And it looked like, as I turned the television off this morning, rain was beginning to set in. You could see the umbrellas going up in the crowd. So you don't need a gimmicky course when you got weather issues always seemingly affect the British Open.
Yeah, but they make no apologies for if the course is easy or the course is difficult. That's just the way it is. So
you just and when you go there, you go there knowing that that's what you have to contend with.
Speaking of golf, just last week the WPKY team played in the Princeton-Caldwell County Chamber of Commerce Princeton Rotary Club Golf Scramble here at the Princeton Golf Club, and Bob Hayes with chip in on number 6 for Eagle.
Well, that was, I don't know whether, it brought back memories of 25 years ago. No, it was fun. I enjoyed it going into last Fridays with you and myself, Ty Englebright, and who else?
Our other guy, Dennis Stevens.
Yeah, Dennis. I was hoping not to have too many bogeys on the card. And as it turns out, we had no bogeys. And then we didn't play the hole number 17 like we probably should have by paying a little extra money. And we ended up parring
we made that one tough.
Yeah, we made that one tough on ourselves, hitting that little 2-foot club with a wedge blade on it about 40 feet off the tee, and then we parred it from that point. Ty running in a 25-foot putt to get par on that hole for us.
And I was going to say, Ty with the longest putt of the day on number 17, ended up with some stuff to take home, so that was great.
Absolutely, and it was fun. It was an enjoyable day. The weather was not an issue, and that course, our course, is just in beautiful, immaculate shape.
We really put the pressure on Dennis a couple of times, though, because there were a few times where we had nothing, and he kind of bailed us out. So, it was a team effort.
It was a team effort, and you're right. Dennis did take. He saved us at least on 3 holes easily.
Moving to baseball, we were talking about the St. Louis Cardinals a little bit earlier. They are 48-46, as we're not quite 2/3 of the way through the season. It hasn't been a great season for Cardinals and Cardinal fans, but at the same time, the Redbirds are only 3 games back in the Central and just a half game back from the final wild card spot. So at times it seems like they've played really poorly, and if they could just turn some things around, maybe the Central is still there to be had.
As a person who will watch a lot of Cardinal games on television, it's been frustrating this year because you almost never if you have a lead and you get to the ninth inning, you always can expect some issues there. And we saw that yesterday. We almost gave up the lead in the ninth inning yesterday to the Pirates. But it has been a unique season to look, and we're only a half game out on the wild card right now. So, and the Cardinals, having lost Marcell Ozuna for roughly, I don't know how much longer he's going to be out, maybe 2 more weeks. Yachty again on the DL. Matt Carpenter went back on yesterday. And we're having still the ability to compete and win, and the pitching staff is beginning to step it up a notch, especially Michaelis the other night.
I'm not sure the pitching has been all that bad this season as a whole. You talk about Ozuna, he was probably the team's best hitter when he went down.
He was the best hitter, and yesterday I was happy to see this. Goldschmidt, 3-run homer in the bottom of the 7th, propelled the Cardinals to victory in that game. So maybe he's loosening up right now a little bit, and we can expect a lot more out of him the last 2 months of the season. The other interesting thing in July, Todd, is the trade deadline coming up. What teams are going to be making this move, that move to try to ensure maybe a playoff spot or get better, whatever the situation may be.
One of the issues the Cardinals have is they've got a lot of money tied up in some players that aren't really producing at the level they're being compensated right now. But it's kind of tough to move those guys. So it's tough to go out and take on a big money player when you've already paid a lot of big money for some guys.
I think that kind of came up when we were looking maybe for a closer after Jordan Hicks went down. We just didn't want to get into that market with Kimbrel going to the Cubs. So I think obviously money is an issue for the Cardinals as to what they're going to do. They've got a really unique farm system. I don't know how many teams go up and down to their AAA club as many times as St. Louis does, but the Cardinals have about 8, 9, 10 players every year that go back and forth 2 and 3 and 4 times back to Memphis. And I know we've got 2 really hot prospects waiting in the wings, if you will, to the number 1 signee this year, the number 1 signee last year. So things are looking good. We just got to get the guys that are up there right now to break out of their little slumps.
Well, Matt Carpenter hasn't been good at the plate this year. Harrison Bader, who took over in center, has been bad at the plate, so that's really hurt. Tyler O'Neill has come on, though, recently and provided a bit of a punch. And another guy at Memphis right now that was up briefly last year, Randy Arozarena, is batting .358 at Memphis right now, so I'm thinking we may see him sooner rather than later in St. Louis.
Well, he's one of the ones in my mind that will come up, and we brought up 3 weeks ago Edmund, who has played well defensively and offensively. So they've got some kids, and Carpenter seems not to be able to foul the ball directly down to the ground, but fouls it off his instep or his ankle, and that's what's put him on the DL again. He was there 5 weeks ago with the same injury, and looking at the same thing again now.
And you're looking at Carlos Martinez right now. His situation is kind of in flux. They're kind of using him out of the bullpen, but a guy that probably wants to be a starter.
You know, he's just chomping at the bit to get back into the rotation, but obviously he's got a role to play, and that's I can remember umpteen years ago when Wainwright was in the bullpen and helped us win that World Series. And but you just got to you got to perform where you're needed most, and to Carlos' stature, he's doing that. Although I thought we were going to blow a game yesterday.
If you look at the NL Central as a whole, I think it was supposed to be one of the better divisions this year. Looked like Milwaukee was going to be really tough, that the Cubs would be really good, that the Cardinals would be pretty good. Hasn't really worked out that way, though.
No, Cincinnati just, I'm sure right now over last year probably have improved 15 games, maybe even more than that. I just knew they were woefully weak last year, but we go into Cincinnati tonight and start a series there. And, you just can't overlook them anymore. And Pittsburgh, the same way.
Well, it leaves a lot of teams, especially in the Central, I think, trying to figure out whether they're buyers or sellers as the trade deadline approaches because, again, if you're the Cardinals and you're 3 games out and a half game out in the wild card, I think at this point you're still trying to play for the playoffs.
It's out there. I mean, we're not 10 games behind in the wild card or 7 games. It's right there, and one good week can propel you to a 5-2 week, so to speak.
As we mentioned, it's a busy day in sports. Caldwell County football team going to Murray State tonight for the FCA 7-on-7 event there, and Bob, football season is just about on us.
Before you know it is going to be here to the point where I've got to get my stuff started out to figure out. We haven't yet to have a meeting as far as what we're going to do from the radio station standpoint, but you blink, 2 weeks will go by, and then you're only 2 weeks away.
Yeah, and once we get into July and the late part of July, it seems like things go fast because fall sports for high school begins just about early August anymore, so there's not a whole lot of prep time like there used to be.
You go to bed on August 2nd and you wake up the next morning and it's August 5th, it seems like. Time really gets away from you in the first 3 weeks of August.
The Tiger football team opens the regular season August 23rd at home against Christian County. Volleyball opens August 19th. The soccer teams open the regular season August 12th. And, of course, you got some football scrimmages in there, too. So, once you get to August, it's just it's right on top of you. And I do know that WPKY will be broadcasting the games. We will be doing the video again this year. Tape delayed, I believe, for the home games. We haven't completely decided on everything yet, but we're working on those things. So
great, and obviously we are. And while we're on the football subject, Todd, we were mentioning that the baseball team had 10 kids now going to college on a scholarship, grant and aid, whatever you want to call it. But the football team, we have 3 players at Western, 1 at Lindsey Wilson. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure whether we have anybody at Georgetown anymore or not.
We may still have one at Campbellsville. I've got to check. I'm not sure if Zach Gaither is still on Campbellsville or not.
Okay, and the Western kids are Oliver Parker, D.K., Mitchell Harrelson. So, credit to those kids and the programs that develop here in Caldwell County. And going back over this baseball, 10 players over the last 3 years, and we've still got a great team coming back, 5 starters, and Brian Long was a DH last year in a lot of situations, so we actually have 6 coming back. So we're not leaving the barrel empty, and Coach Stallings has really done well the last 3 or 4 years. And talking from a Little League perspective now, you and I both go to the Youth Incorporated meetings. Last weekend, we had teams in the girls' upper softball, lower softball divisions, the boys' upper baseball, lower baseball, all competing for championships over at Hopkinsville. So our future looks great in softball and baseball.
The 10 Caldwell County baseball players, again, John Davis and Easton Thompson, are headed to Midway. Noah Brown, Bryce Thomas, Jace Felker, Briar Riley, and Gabe East will all be at Wren Lake. We'll have Luke Brown and Shane Burns at Murray State, Ty Ramey at Frontier College. So I believe that's 10. That's an entire baseball team. You could win some games with that group.
And I would be remiss to not mention the ladies, but I just started writing them down, and I couldn't get all of them remembered. I know Mashi, Katie Franklin, Emma Staples, and anybody else that
we'll work on that during the break.
Okay,
we'll come back and tell everybody.
So we want to have full representation for the ladies as well.
And on the football side, of course, D. Kane still one of those at Western, and I understand he got an extra year. We talked about that with Coach Barnes last week. Of course, Elijah Sindelar, the big one at Purdue, he's got an extra year, and Jalen Boyd at Lindsey Wilson. He got an extra year there. So he played as a junior last year but still has 2 seasons to go. So, those guys all have a chance to really do something on the college level.
And in Jaden's case, the ability to get a degree, too, which is humongous and for his life's future.
Need to get one more break in here on the Sideline Report. We'll come back and talk more sports after this. You're listening to the Sideline Report on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Here's your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast.
Use caution if outside for a long period of time today. Excessive heat warning in effect today could see heat index values in the triple digits. High today of 92. Slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm as well. Tonight, mostly clear, low 74. More sunshine for tomorrow, a high 92, but that heat advisory still into effect. And for tomorrow night, a low 74 under clear skies. Saturday, high 93 with the heat index values reaching near triple digits. Again for today, sunshine, a high near 92. Slight chance of a shower, and the heat index values around 105.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Pennyrile District Health.
Peace, love, and music. It's hard to understate the impact of the 1969 Woodstock Music Festival on American culture and music.
Join Casey Jones Distillery and the Pennyroyal Arts Council and celebrate Woodstock's 50th anniversary with the Lights Out Festival featuring the Woodstock Rock Orchestra August 17.
Hopkinsville's own Mark Jones, Chip Graham, and Alonzo Pennington, and at least a dozen more seasoned musicians will take you on a musical journey through the performances of songs played by
The Who, Sly and the Family Stone, Joe Cocker, Led Zeppelin, Creedence Clearwater Revival,
The Beatles, Janis Joplin, Santana, The Rolling Stones, and many others.
General admission and a limited number of VIP tickets are available online at pennyroyalarts.org and CaseyJonesDistillery.com.
Or in person at the Alhambra Theater box office and at Casey Jones Distillery.
So make your plans now for the Lights Out Festival featuring the Woodstock Rock Orchestra August 17th at Casey Jones Distillery.
And special thanks to our lead sponsor, Budweiser.
Back on the Sideline Report on WPKY 1580, 103.3, and WPKYonline.com. This is Todd Griffin of WPKY and YourSportsEdge.com. Bob Hayes, WPKY sportscaster, in the studio with us today on the Sideline Report. And again, thanks to Luther Bramblett, Midway University baseball coach, for joining us a little bit earlier on the show. And Bob, we've been trying to come up with our list of softball players, and I think we've got everybody.
I think we hopefully have nailed it, Todd. Mashi Glover going to Murray State University, Katie Franklin going to Asbury, Emma Staples going to Frontier College, and Haley Stiles going to Lindsey Wilson. And I know that we maybe have another couple kids that'll be seniors to be that have announced their college plans, and I don't know who they are. I can't remember. I think do you remember?
Maddie Schote is going somewhere. We'll have to get together for the pre-show conference next time, Bob, and get all our notes together.
Yes,
but
exactly. Well, we didn't think we'd be going down this road either, but we want to pay attention to everybody here, and those kids in college playing volleyball.
Well,
we don't want to overlook anybody.
The amazing thing is there's so many right now that it's tough to come up with all of them off the top of your head.
Absolutely, it is. So,
in the past there were years where we would maybe have 2 or 3 people sign the entire school year, and here we're talking about 10 baseball players and 4 softball players, and we've got volleyball kids out there and football players. All kinds of guys and girls
Campbell
playing.
North going to somewhere
Murray State to play golf.
Yes. So
it's we need a book. It's got to. There's so many people,
and you don't want to do disservice to any of them.
Also, want to mention tonight that the annual Caldwell County Youth Incorporated Baseball Invitational Tournament gets underway at the Ratliff Park Complex on Legion Drive. You got 28 teams competing in 54 games for about 66 hours of baseball action over the next 3 days, and that's kind of has become the big wrap up to the summer season at Youth Incorporated.
And really, I think it's our programs here are definitely strong and on the upswing, and with the number of teams coming in, it just is a testimony to the fact that they want to come and play good competition.
Well, the ballpark looks excellent. The fireworks show a couple of weeks ago, just outstanding, and tying it in with the softball tournament was great because you had a lot of people there, a lot of out-of-towners that were there to see the show and probably will come back next year to see the show again. So that's just that's the way we need to utilize our ballpark.
everything I've heard about the fireworks display the other night was tremendous, and was not just your basic 15-minute show. It went on for nearly upwards of 45 minutes, and really well done.
You know, people keep talking about the big finale. I think the big finale was the entire show.
That's what I understand from anybody who saw it. I was not in attendance, so I could hear it, but was not out there.
Well, just a whole lot of people at the ballpark, and again, that's what we want to see. And the fencing out there looks great, and had a couple extra vendors in for the tournament and the fireworks show, and just a lot of people. It was a bit of a traffic nightmare afterward, but that's fine. I mean, you want everybody to come out and enjoy the show.
Absolutely, and you know, if it took you 5 minutes to get home, you weren't going to needing to be anywhere at 10 o'clock anyway, except getting ready to go to bed.
Yeah, I haven't heard anybody say anything negative about it at all, and that's incredible. And just the ballpark looking great.
And the other thing, we want to thank our fire department for being out there the other night. They were a huge play in this from a safety standpoint, and we want to thank Dunk for his willingness to do what he did. And I think this is something he does and does well.
And plans for another one next year. So hopefully that's something we can keep going, because that is a big event for the community, and not just the ballpark or anybody, but we want the entire community involved.
It's enjoyment. It's the end of a grade, whether it's held on the 3rd or 4th, but it's celebrating our freedom, if you will. And
the Youth Incorporated meeting was last night, and some big plans coming up. Not junior pro football coming up, and going to have some flag football this year. That's big. Cheerleading sign-ups about to start, but some other big plans coming up at the ballpark too.
Absolutely. We're about to embark on a situation where we're going to begin to bury some of these overhead power lines, and hopefully somewhere in the future, not too distant, that we can begin some kind of a fundraising effort to replace those wooden poles out there with aluminum or concrete or steel, whatever is on the market, and really upgrade that facility.
As always, just takes money, and you have to get money to do those things, but hopefully we're on the right track, and I think the ballpark looks as good now as it ever has, and again, just everybody that came out for the fireworks and for the softball tournament really enjoyed the park. And when I go to other places, one of the first things they mention is how much they enjoy coming to Princeton, not just to play in the ballpark, but to go eat someplace and just to hang out.
The ballpark is in beautiful shape, and I'd be remiss if I didn't throw some bouquets at Ray Mitchell for his effort and keeping that place in great shape, and for the coaches and the other officials that are out there paying attention to detail. And we've tried to upgrade our concession stand as well, and it's just a great place to go.
And hopefully just bigger and better things in the future.
Absolutely.
Bob, anything else you want to add as we wrap it up today?
No, I think I've enjoyed being on, enjoyed hearing Coach Bramlett, what he's got in store for his team and what's going on at Midway University. So it's been a great morning.
Absolutely, and thanks for coming in, and go Redbirds.
Absolutely, and Tigers.
Yes. That's Bob Hayes, and thanks again to Luther Bramlett for joining us earlier on the show. That's going to wrap it up today. This is Todd Griffin of YourSportsEdge.com and WPKY Radio. Thanks for joining us on the Sideline Report here on 1580 103.3 WPKY.
Serving Caldwell County since 1950. We're 1580 103.3 WPKY Princeton.
Fox News, I'm Lillian Wu. President Trump taking aim at the 4 Democratic congresswomen he's been feuding with during a rally in North Carolina.
Umar has a history of launching vicious anti-Semitic screeds.
Suggesting last night that Representative Ilhan Omar return to Somalia, she tweeted back,
I am where I belong, at the people's house, and you're just going to have to deal. The hashtag I stand with Ilhan is making the rounds on Twitter.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland. There are 33 people confirmed dead in a fire Japanese officials think was deliberately set.
The blaze taking hold at a famous animation studio in the city of Kyoto reportedly started when a man burst in shouting, "You die," as he doused the building with fuel. The suspected arsonist was taken to the hospital.
Fox's Simon Owen. This is Fox News.